Welcome back, class 10, your history class. Continuing with chapter 12, Rise of Dictatorships, we were studying about fascism and Nazism. In the last class, we have studied the causes for the rise of Nazism and fascism. Today, we'll start off how Mussolini formed government in October 1922. It was under these circumstances, the causes which we have learned, that Mussolini rose to become the leader of the new movement. Benito Mussolini, a former socialist and a journalist by profession, stopped calling himself a socialist now. In March 1919, he formed the Fascist Party, which attracted people from all sections of society. Ex-soldiers, salaried persons, farmers, workers, and the youths. They wore black uniform and therefore came to be known as black shirts. Since they wore black uniform, they were known as the black shirts. They adopted the fasces as their symbol. Violence was the creed of these volunteers. They were very violent people. Black shirts took over factories, municipalities, police stations, wherever they could. On October 28, 1922, the fascist bands marched on Rome. The very next day, the king invited Mussolini to form the government, which he did on 30th October. So you understand, the people were so eager to be under a very strong leadership that within a short period of time, Mussolini became the absolute master of Italy. Victor Emmanuel was the king, but Mussolini became the real ruler of Italy. So what was Mussolini's domestic and foreign policies? Fascism meant crushing of individual liberty and suppressing human personality, violence at home and aggression abroad. So violence at home and aggression means attack and expansion abroad. Theory of a corporate state. Mussolini tried to put Italy on a strong economic footing by his theory of corporate state. Mussolini himself was the head of the Ministry of Corporations. War and imperialistic expansion. Mussolini preached that the nation has a will and a personality on its own. A country have its will and its personality on her own. The growth of empire is the expression of nation's vitality. So when there is growth, that means the nation is vital, the nation is pulsating. In order to justify his policy of imperialism, Mussolini said, "We are 40 millions squeezed into a narrow but adorable peninsula. Italy must expand or perish." Abyssinia, which is now known as Ethiopia, was annexed in 1936 after a most merciless warfare. In fact, war was used by Mussolini to divert people's attention from internal problem and economic insecurity. Very important. Mussolini, what he did was that whenever there was internal problems, there was economic insecurity, Mussolini waged a war. So what happened was the direction from the internal problems, the people's direction from the internal problems was diverted to the war. Now, Hitler formed his Nazi government. Now this was about Mussolini, and Hitler formed his Nazi government in January 1933. The Nationalist Socialist Party, which is short form was Nazi, took control of the situation through a leader his name was Adolf Hitler. The party was formed in 1919. Its members wore brown shirts. In the elections of July 1932, the party captured 35.5% of the total seats in Reichstag, which was their national legislature. A coalition government headed by von Papen could not continue in power for long. President Hindenburg then offered chancellorship. Chancellor means a prime ministership to Hitler, who formed the first Nazi government on 30th October 1933. The Nazis were still not the majority in legislature. Government and general elections were ordered on 5th March. It resulted in the victory of the Nazi Party. Thereafter, the Nazi regime virtually became one-man rule. President Hindenburg died on 2nd August 1934. That day, Hitler combined in his person the two offices of president and chancellor. After the death of the president, two offices of presidentship and the office of the prime minister were combined, and Hitler took the new reign, and he was designated as the Führer. Führer means, in German language, means the leader. What was Hitler's domestic and foreign policies? Nazism was a product of anger, you should remember, born of humiliation at the Paris Peace Conference. That means after the First World War. Like the Italian fascists, Nazi Party was also against parliamentary democracy, liberalism, and internationalism. That is, the League of Nations and peaceful settlement of disputes. Hitler's ideas and programs. Hitler wrote Mein Kampf, his autobiography, which gave the idea and program. The book contains the following program. What did the book contain? Land reform, abolition of unearned income, racial superiority of Germans, whom he held as the Aryans or the master race, elimination of Jews, rejection of peace treaties, especially the Treaty of Versailles. So, his ideas and programs were land reforms, number one. Number two was abolition of unearned income. Number three was racial supremacy of Germans. Germans thought that they were the descendants of the Aryans. They were the master race. Number three, elimination of Jews. And number four, rejection of the Treaty of Versailles. What was his domestic policies? Hitler's domestic policy was marked by civil order, violence, there was terror all over, anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism means hatred for the Jews. They couldn't stand the Jews and they tortured the Jews. Strikes and lockouts were forbidden. You cannot do strike or lockout. Problems of foreign debts was over because no money was allowed to be taken out of Germany. Big industries were allowed to continue, but they were brought under strict control of the state. Hitler used violence in order to achieve political aims. The Nazi Party was left as the only legitimate party or the legal party in the country. In schools, the radio, the cinema, the literature all served nothing but for the Nazi cause. So it was total dictatorship. The Jews were deprived of German citizenship. In 1937, the ghetto laws were implemented. Ghetto laws. What was the ghetto laws? Under these laws, no Jew could marry a German. All Jews were forced to live in ghettos. What are ghettos? It's an isolation camp. An attempt to, where people were concentration camps. It was a terrible scene, torture. Because it was an attempt to get a final solution to get rid of the Jews, The German, it was mass murder of the Jews. Concentration camps had been specially built in Germany and in those parts of Europe which came under the German occupation. Many such camps had gas chambers. Poisonous gas was introduced in the chambers and there was mass murder. So that they could be filled with poisonous gases, killing hundreds of Jews in no time. What was Hitler's foreign policy? Hitler preached the gospel of the victorious sword. He said, "He who does not wish to fight has not the right to exist in the world." He broke the bonds of Treaty of Versailles and began to build up Germany's armed forces. Hitler's concept of pan-German, pan means all over, German unity, meant that Germany, Austria, Poland, Czechoslovakia and few other countries in Eastern Europe should be consolidated, means taken together as an unified state. He conquered one country after another, Denmark, Norway, Luxembourg and Belgium. On 1st September 1939, German troops stormed into Poland. That became the immediate cause of the Second World War. Important. How it became the second cause of Second World, how it became the immediate cause of the Second World War, we will learn in the next chapter, hopefully, which is the Second World War. So, what was the similarities of fascism and Nazi ideologies and policies? Fascism and Nazism had much in common. Number one is anti-intellectualism of fascism and Nazism. Fascists sought to create a society based on myth, stories of achieving a country which will be ruled by a strong person and all the problems will go away. It's a myth. They believe that it is faith that moves mountains, not reason. The motto given by Mussolini to his countrymen is to believe, to obey, to fight. Some of the myths were popularized by fascists and Nazis were as under: the leader is ever right, the leader is always right. International peace is a coward's dream. Very interesting. Imperialism is the eternal law of life. Hitler believed that the German race in whose veins runs the Nordic, the Aryan blood, is the noblest in the world. Second was negation of democracy. That means one party, one man rule. Fascism is the sworn enemy of liberalism, democracy, and personal liberty. Mussolini said, fascism trains its gun on the whole block of democratic ideologies. Similarly, Hitler asserted that masses should be governed by those whom nature has endowed with special gifts. See, he always thought that leaders are special and they should rule the other. What should I say? They should rule the whole country because it's a one man, one rule. No other challengers should be there. If there are any challengers, they will be killed or crushed. Although the legislature continued to exist in Italy, but the essence of power of the lawmaking belonged to the deuce. The fascists and the Nazi rulers did not allow other than their own party to operate in the country. Their order was the life should be made impossible for the opponents. That is what exactly I said. No opponent should be there. Then comes aggressive nationalism and imperialistic policies. Fascists glorified the nation. Both Hitler and Mussolini persuaded in glorification of the whole of their individual countries. Hitler and Mussolini persuaded in the expansionist policy. Go, attack, capture. Imperialism, said Mussolini, is the eternal law of life. In March 1936, the Italian troops reached near Ethiopian capital Addis Ababa. On 2nd May, the Emperor of Ethiopia fled the country and the capital fell into the Italian troops. The Hitler regime embarked upon the policy of expansionism. The Germans knocked down one country after another: Austria, Denmark, Czechoslovakia, Norway, Luxembourg, the Netherlands, and Belgium. Even Paris fell to the Nazis. Then another similarity was both the countries were against communism. Fascists claimed that to be neither capitalist nor socialist. It protected private property. The communists, however, never trusted the fascist. The country had been placed under a perpetual war economy. Political necessities such as rapid rearmament and industrial growth placed the initiative more and more in the hands of the government. Nazism also was a sworn enemy of socialism and communism. They were against socialism and communism. It condemned the Marxist doctrine of class struggle as being destructive of the unity of the nation. So they didn't like the Marxist doctrine of caste struggle and they thought it was destructive for the unity of the country. Racist policies, beliefs, and racial superiority. The Nazi Party professed the myth of Nordic or Aryan race. All people of the Aryan race in Europe, whether they lived in Denmark or Poland or France, were sought to be united under the German Empire. In the name of Aryan principle, lakhs of Jews were mercilessly killed by the Nazis. In Italy, the Jews had important posts, the fascist party from the beginning, but in 1938, Mussolini also adopted the policy of race hatred under the Nazi influence. So, you understand, it's self-explanatory, racial superiority, killing and, erasing the race, Jewish race, from the face of the world. Differences between fascist and Nazi ideologies and programs. Now we will see some differences between fascist and Nazi policies. Fascist economy. Mussolini's theory of corporate state needs a little elaboration. How? In Italy, the workers and employers had a separate syndicates. They were linked together by 22 national corporations representing the major industries, in which both workers and employers had equal representation. Each corporation had a managing body which is known as the council. The councils sitting together constituted the National Council or Corporation. So all the councils together formed the National Council of Corporations. Central Committee of National Councils included all the fascist ministers. Mussolini himself was the head of the Ministry of Corporations. The national corporations were supposed to make rules regarding wages, hours, conditions of work. This theory emphasized the importance of group rather than individuals. In fact, however, the theory of corporate state became a means through which Mussolini could exercise control over Italian economy. So, did you understand? See, what in Italy, workers had their own syndicates. Okay, they were linked together by 22 corporations, which represented the major industries, where both the employees and the employers had equal representation. So each corporation had its managing body, the council. 22 councils are there. All the 22 councils sitting together formed the National Council of Corporation. Okay. Central Committee of the National Council of Corporation included fascist ministers, and Mussolini was the head of the Ministry of Corporations. By being the head of the Ministry of Corporation, he could exercise control over the Italian economy. Okay. Now, what was Nazi Germany's economy? In Nazi Germany, big industrial houses were not allowed to continue, but they were brought under the control of state. Wages and prices of all commodities were fixed. Neither factory owners could declare lockouts, that means close the factories, nor workers could go for a strike. Now comes Hitler's racist policies and hatred for Jews. Hitler said Germany's defeat in wars was due to the fact that the Jews and the communists betrayed the country. That was Hitler's idea. Germany could never become strong and great unless and until the non-German elements, especially the Jews, were eliminated. The Nazis believed that the German race were the master race. They were therefore on the road of world domination, dominating the world. The Jews were seen as fundamentally evil people. Hitler's attempt to kill European Jews resulted in the death of some 6 million Jews. People all over the world were shocked by such barbarous and inhuman atrocities. Obviously, racism was not an essential part of fascist ideology. Whereas in fascism, racism was not the main ideology. In Italy, Jews held important posts in fascist party from the beginning. Although later Mussolini also adopted the policy of race hatred under Nazi influence, but the core of fascist ideology was never racial theories. Fascism was essentially an extreme form of nationalism, where Nazism, on the other hand, was built largely on the basis of racialism. So, with this, we come to the end of this chapter, Rise of Dictatorships. I hope you have understood the chapter. Your work, as usual, is please solve the questions given at the back of the chapter in your exercise copies. But I can never, fall short of emphasizing how important solving the questions and answers are. Please solve the questions and answers. Go through the chapters. And that is all for today. Thank you.